Coming up on AgweekTV, many growers around the region get an early start on harvest, but it's not all good news. We'll have some tips about combine safety to avoid fires this harvest season.
We'll take you to Northwood, North Dakota for the 2023 Ag Week Driving Tour.
And we'll take you to a South Dakota lodge where hunters can learn about ag. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Emily Beal. Fall harvest is off to an early start for many growers across the region, although rains are taking some producers out of the field. In this Ag Week cover story, we check the progress in South Dakota.
At Craig Converse's farm in Arlington, South Dakota, soybean harvest started on a record early date of September 12th and has already wrapped up for the year.
This has been the earliest harvest we've ever had here at the farm, and we just finished up here before the weekend on Friday, and took about 2 weeks, but we just kept going, and harvest went pretty fast and easy.
The hot, dry summer played a role in the early harvest conditions this year.
Well, we had that real hot weekend here in early September, and we was really concerned about how much yield perhaps that was going to take off of our soybeans. And once we got out in the field, it was surprisingly pretty good, and I'd say probably an average crop for the most part.
Farther south, near Madison, South Dakota, at Justin Minart's farm, he only got about 100 acres of soybeans out of the field before being delayed by rain.
It was very slow going. The stems are very green, but the beans are dry, so it was much slower than typical, and we're just kind of patiently waiting to actually get going again. So far, we've had only about 2/10 of rain, but it's kept us out of the field for the last 4 or 5 days.
But Minart is still 2 weeks ahead of his normal harvest schedule.
I'd say a lot of it is just the way the heat has been and then the lack of moisture too, but surprisingly we've had much better yields than the past couple of years, but I think that can contribute that to we had about 2 inches of rain in the middle of August, and that really helped set us up for a pretty good bean harvest so far.
Corn is also getting ready to be harvested in South Dakota, and producers hope to get started soon.
Possibly before beans with the way the weather's going. Anytime now we'll probably be starting corn, just depending on if the weather clears up and what the soybean moistures cooperate.
Looks really good. I think that we're going to have an average to maybe a slightly above average corn crop. It's just hard to tell until you're really out there. It's really uneven, and I think that's part of the factor. We just really don't know, because there's some good areas, but then there's some droughty areas that, we may have to probably bring that average down a little bit. But for what it looks like right now, I think it would be pretty good considering the year that we've had.
Corn and soybean harvest was at or ahead of normal progress by the end of the week of September 24th in North Dakota and South Dakota, while Minnesota was very far ahead of schedule for both crops. You can read more in the next Ag Week magazine and at agweek.com. A hot, dry growing season can lead to big problems during harvest. Combines can catch fire fairly easily, especially in these conditions, but there are some precautions you can take to prevent them. Nick Schindel, the regional sales manager for Ziegler Caterpillar, says you need to think about being what happens when you start the combine and after you shut it down. He says it's important to pay attention to the stress points of the combine, especially the hydraulics.
You're going to have heat build up around the engine, you're going to have heat build up around the transmission, you're going to have heat build up around bearings if they're not adequately lubed and they're not adequately taken care of. When they do have a heat problem, you got to make sure and identify those sources, very quickly, and mitigate that fire risk by making sure those areas stay clean.
He says it's important to have an air compressor or leaf blower handy to blow debris off the machine, a temperature gun to check the heat, and of course, a fire extinguisher. A new technology is tackling an age-old problem. A laser scarecrow is being tested in a sunflower field at the Grand Farm Innovation Campus near Castleton, North Dakota. KWS Seed is evaluating the technology. The company's business development manager says it's not quite as exciting as it sounds. The scarecrow doesn't shoot laser beams from its eyes. In fact, it looks like solar panels mounted on a post.
The first technology that comes to, or the thought process that comes is some Star Wars type thing that's going to have that bird flying through and that laser is going to pop them out of the air. So no, it's not that type of technology. It's meant as an irritant. So that bird's going to be irritated by the laser as it comes by, and it's going to want to move on.
Like most technology, it can be managed by an app. The bird deterrent is already being used in some airports, where birds can pose a hazard to planes.
We'll take you to the Jodoc farm, where dry beans have been a part of their crop rotation since the late 1960s.
For home delivery of AgWeek, log on to agweek.com or call 800-811-2580.
At Vatterstad, we're partnering with North American farmers to create the perfect emergence. We're doing this with new and innovative tillage, planting, and seeding solutions, optimized for the field conditions that you face, and with industry-leading capacities to help you get the job done in short windows of time, so you can maximize yields. Vatterstad, we look forward to growing together.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
Life at Butler Machinery is more than just a workplace. It's a place where I've met quality people that have helped me grow to who I am today. They're more than simply coworkers to me. They're my team. They're people that I can rely on and that rely on me to complete the day-to-day tasks. Butler truly values their technicians with ongoing training throughout the year to keep us up to date on our products. Join the Butler family like I did. Apply today at butlermachinery.com/lifeatbutler.
Hi, Bill Kelsey here, Geringhoff Territory Manager, covering northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. At Geringhoff, we offer a full line of the best harvest headers and residue management systems on the market. Contact me today to discuss your farm's needs. From there, I'll connect you with an authorized Geringhoff dealer.
Our Ag Week Dry Bean Tour is brought to you by the North Harvest Bean Growers Association.
The upper Midwest is home to a wide variety of commodities, some lesser known than others. I traveled to Johnstown, North Dakota to take a deeper dive into dry beans.
Dry bean would be any of the beans that are harvested that naturally dry down out in the field, such as pinto beans, black beans, kidney beans, navy beans. Those would be about the most popular around here.
Dylan Carley is no stranger to dry beans. His grandfather and father started Johnstown Bean Company in North Central Commodities in 1978, where Carley has been working as the general manager for the past 15 years. On top of the family-owned business, the Carleys also farm in Johnstown, where they raise primarily dry edible beans. The commodity helps not only bring additional dollars to a farmer's pocket, but also improves their soil.
Just the fact that it's about 8 to 10% of our acres. They're really good for the soil. They're nitrogen-fixing crops, so farmers and agricultural producers can use them in their crop rotation to benefit their soils. And overall, it returns a higher dollar value for a good crop than something like soybeans would with the yields we get in our area. North Dakota and Minnesota combined is about 65% of all of the dry edible beans in the country.
Though the region has seen a drier growing season, the dry beans thrive in hot, dry conditions.
The most successful growing season, if I had to say it, for dry edible beans would be just enough rain to get by, but right on the verge of a drought. That means less disease, less problems you'll possibly have, less drowned out areas, and usually along with the drought comes good heat.
According to Carley, dry beans have been picking up in popularity.
Edible beans are kind of having a moment worldwide where there's a lot of focus on healthier eating, plant-based proteins, movements towards more vegetarian proteins and everything like that worldwide. And that is really helping to increase consumption in some of the non-traditional bean-eating people. And I think that's going to be a great opportunity that's going to hopefully lead to good, strong markets, good high prices, and a really good return to the farmers that are growing dry edible beans in our region.
According to the U.S. Ag Department, black bean consumption has increased to 1 pound per person between 1970 and 2017. This week, we kick off our AgWeek Dry Bean Tour. Katie Pinky stopped in northeastern North Dakota to take a look at the crop.
Joining me now on the 2023 AgWeek Dry Bean Tour is Carl Jodak in southwest Grand Forks County. Carl, you've brought dry beans into your rotation on your farm. Share a little bit about dry beans on your farm.
Well, dry beans have been a part of our farm since the late 1960s, I believe. Northwood has always had a strong dry bean presence, and our farm has been a part of that for many years. We've grown pinto beans, navy beans, and black turtle beans over the years. This year, navies and pintos.
So this field specifically you're harvesting pinto beans today. Share a little bit about the crop this year.
The crop this year is average. We had obviously a pretty hot and dry summer, but we've managed to pull a crop off, and it's good quality, and we've had good harvest conditions.
And then also weed control. How do you manage weed control in dry beans?
Our dry beans are primarily no-till, and so a good fall burn down application in the wheat stubble the year before, and another burn down in the spring at planting with a residual pre-emerge herbicide actually takes care of most of our weed pressure. And then the residue mat keeps us pretty protected over the summer. You know, we use the typical dry bean herbicides in the summer, and had pretty good luck this year with most of our fields.
And then where do the beans go from here in the field? I know you have contracts in the area. Share with us a little bit about your dry bean contracts.
Yeah, so these pinto beans go to Kelly Bean. Our navy beans go to ADM. We've worked with both those companies for a number of years, and from there they're exported all over the world.
Lastly, you've been farming for 24 years. We're out here combining. Your dad is in the background. Share a little bit about just your farming experience and what you see the future in the dry bean industry.
Well, like I said, dry beans have a strong history on our farm. I can't imagine the Jodak farm without dry beans. It's a part of our spring and fall workload every year. And of all the crops we grow half a dozen crops. It's the only one that when you look at a handful out of the truck, that's what's going to be on the dinner table. It's not further processed, you know, it's a food stuff right there off the field.
Awesome. Carl, thank you for joining us. From the 2023 AgWeek Dry Bean Tour, I'm Katie Pinky.
Ahead on AgweekTV, a former South Dakota Ag Secretary gets a big honor for his work in the field.
So in 2017, RTD developed a thing called Whip Drain, and it is a drainage and aeration platform for many types of stockpiles. Sand or aggregates, sugar beets or potatoes. We can drain the water away from the product, and we can also force air into the platform and aerate the whole bottom of it. We've designed it so you can operate 988 cat loaders. I think they weigh about 140,000 pounds. Whip Drain is engineered to withstand that type of treatment.
Built in North Dakota and delivered across the Midwest, every Pinky home is a custom home, designed for your family, built by ours. And with our on-site lumberyard and generations of experience, we can help build the home of your dreams without breaking your budget. Build something that lasts. Build with Pinky Homes. Get to know us and see all of your customization options at pinkyhomes.com.
The story of a farm is the story of a family. From generations past to generations to come, families have raised their children on the crops that sustain our country on the same fields. Today, with a better nitrogen, farmers can continue to take care of what matters most: the land they work and the people they do it with.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Brimmer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
Crary welcomes you back for the second annual Full Pod event. Join us with the Millennial Farmer, Brian of Brian's Farming Videos, Larson Farms, and Tony Fast at Fast Ag Montana.
Come see me, Tony Fast, in Fargo, North Dakota at the Crary's Full Pod event, November 30th. For details, go to crary.com/fullpod.
Don't miss Crary's Full Pod event, Thursday, November 30th at the Fargo Holiday Inn. Get your tickets today at crary.com/fullpod.
AgWeek weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
As harvest season begins rolling in the region, how will the weather fare? Here's John with our agri-weather outlook.
The weather pattern across most of the United States, and in particular the Northern Plains, Midwest section, for the first couple of weeks of October, it's still looking, generally speaking, warmer than average and a little bit wetter than it's been. You know, a lot of this region was a bit drier than average over the summer. Some places quite a bit drier than average. Other areas just slightly drier than average. But in general, it was not a rainy summer. But it's beginning to look like a bit of a rainy fall, perhaps a little untimely in terms of a fall harvest. For Corn Belt areas right now, I don't see it as being a major issue yet. Some parts of the Northern Plains may start getting a little bit too wet. And I don't really anticipate any really cold air dropping down. There will be some waves of cooler weather as we get into October, but I'm not seeing a lot of freezing weather dropping down. Certainly not as we start out the pattern. This would be right on October 1st. It's temperatures well into the 80s as far north as North Dakota and northern Minnesota. Now that's not going to last, but the jet stream pattern with this ridging over the eastern part of the United States definitely favors this warm weather. That I think will be relatively fleeting. Trough of low pressure digging into the middle of the country, coming out of the Pacific Ocean. With split flow, won't really tap into the cold air, but it will push the hottest temperatures, I think, a little bit further south. But all in all, the eastern part of the United States, the Northern Plains, still a bit of a warmer than average weather pattern, kind of focused on this area, with some cooler weather coming in to the northwest and some areas into the mountainous areas and adjacent high plains of western Montana may even have some freezing weather briefly by the end of the week. But I don't anticipate that'll last very long. The trough by the weekend will be setting up in the eastern U.S., ridging beginning to build in the west. So what was looking like an intrusion of cold air out west will end up being mostly just a mountain scene, and we'll watch those pretty warm temperatures build up into the west. And this will be a warm part of the country. The east will cool down, but we'll keep the really cold weather up north. Now this may bring a stray frost around mid-October to some areas of the eastern central Corn Belt, but we'll keep the Northern Plains, I think, mostly frost-free for a while. Now, as far as precipitation goes, eastern seaboard looking fairly dry. Don't see tropical systems coming into the eastern U.S. here in the early part of October. The southwest, of course, will continue to be dry as it's been. Pacific Northwest, snow, rain in the mountains, rain and snow in Alaska. And there will be some areas of showers and thunder showers from the Dakotas, particularly North Dakota, back through the Great Lakes, and then down to the Mississippi River Valley. Probably not a lot of transition for that second week of October. Not really wet weather, but still wetter than average.
For home delivery of AgWeek, log on to agweek.com or call 800-811-2580.
It was October 1st, 2009. We needed some machinery for the farm. We decided to see if we could become a dealer, and that's kind of grown into what it's been today.
We offer basically anything short line. Seed tenders, fertilizer spreaders, sprayers. We can really set ourselves apart by the knowledge we have in those things, by the amount of units we have on hand at all times.
I just have a passion for helping people, getting to know people. It just becomes a lot of fun.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you too can protect the price for your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP for short, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your calves. Cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from lack of rainfall with pasture rangeland forage, or PRF insurance. This is a very affordable way to help producers in times of below average rainfall. Call the risk management specialist, Martinson Ag Risk Management.
The story of a farm is the story of a family. From generations past to generations to come, families have raised their children on the crops that sustain our country on the same fields. Today, with a better nitrogen, farmers can continue to take care of what matters most, the land they work and the people they do it with.
A former South Dakota Ag Secretary gets a big honor. Walt Bones has spent his entire life as the fourth generation on his family farm in Parker, South Dakota. Throughout his life, he has not only been a farmer, but an active leader in the agricultural industry, serving on many organization boards and as the former South Dakota Ag Secretary under Governor Dennis Dugard. Now he's being inducted into the South Dakota Hall of Fame.
There was a class of 10 of us, amazing individuals, very diversified backgrounds, of course. South Dakota is such an amazing state with such an amazing people, and it was overwhelming. It frankly was. To get that sort of a recognition, to have all the family there, friends.
Bones has recently begun retiring from farming, but that doesn't stop him from continuing to play an active role in the agricultural industry, as he is still involved with several ag organizations. One of the biggest horse barns in Minnesota still stands in Rochester, but no horses have lived there for a long time. This barn was built in 1916 by Dr. Graham, one of the 5 original partners at the Mayo Clinic. He had been a veterinarian before becoming an MD and loved horses. He sold the barn as the city quickly grew up around it. It later became a chicken hatchery. Then in 1979, Timothy Malone bought it and today houses about a dozen varied businesses, none of them ag-related. Malone has made some updates to the barn over the years, but he says for the most part, it's a good building that is standing the test of time.
I've had many opportunities to change the design or tear down part of it or whatever, but it's such a sound building, and now with the all rented out, it brings in good income. So there's no reason to do any of that. And I've always, since I bought it, I always thought, well, I want to keep the integrity of the building pretty much the same because it was on the historic list.
The building is more than 200 feet long and 40 feet wide. It fills a whole block. It cost $7,500 to build in 1916. Up next on AgweekTV, pheasant hunters get a lesson about ag at this South Dakota lodge.
Life at Butler Machinery is more than just a workplace. It's a place where I've met quality people that have helped me grow to who I am today. They're more than simply coworkers to me. They're my team. They're people that I can rely on and that rely on me to complete the day-to-day tasks. Butler truly values their technicians with ongoing training throughout the year to keep us up to date on our products. Join the Butler family like I did. Apply today at butlermachinery.com/life@butler.
Get a jump on next season's crop. Before you put your planter away after the planting season, bring it to the experts at Titan Machinery for a full inspection. Titan Machinery service technicians have the experience and training to inspect your Case IH planter and get it in optimal condition for next season. Get a head start on next season and get the peace of mind that your planter is ready when you store it for the winter. Contact the planter experts at your local Titan Machinery Case IH dealership today.
Grain handling and storage projects done efficient, reliable, and hassle-free. With the one-stop shop of advanced grain handling systems. Get better test weights and less crop damage with their continuous mixed-flow grain dryers from Grain Handler and Nico. Get grain bins built to last from West Steel and Sioux Steel. Advanced Grain customizes each project to maximize your farm production. Contact Advanced Grain Handling Systems in Mayville for a free quote and site consultation.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
At Vatterstad, we're partnering with North American farmers to create the perfect emergence. We're doing this with new and innovative tillage, planting, and seeding solutions, optimized for the field conditions that you face, and with industry-leading capacities to help you get the job done in short windows of time, so you can maximize yields. Vatterstad, we look forward to growing together.
Preserve hunting season began in South Dakota on September 1st. The Lazy J Grand Lodge at Jorgensen Land and Cattle in Ideal has already seen dozens of hunters after pheasants on their land. The Jorgensens see the hunting lodge as more than just an opportunity to provide visitors with a great hunting experience, but also teach them about agriculture and where their food comes from.
But what we're doing that time they're here is we're teaching them about what we do. As a matter of fact, one of the things that's mandatory for all of our guests, they don't know we're going to do this, the ones that have been here before do, but we take every single one of them on a farm tour. So we load them on a bus, we drive them 4 miles away to the feedlot, we go drive through the pens, we go show them a farm field that maybe has some cover crop growing in it, we stop and look at the cows out at grass, and it's just an opportunity for us to tell our story.
Traditional pheasant hunting season starts in South Dakota on October 21st and wraps up at the end of January. For our eastern South Dakota and northwestern Iowa viewers, starting October 1st, AgweekTV will be moving to Sioux Falls Live. Make sure to tune in to our new channel to keep up on all things agriculture in the region. We appreciate you watching AgweekTV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a wonderful week, everyone.